We have the prayer and the pledge by Council Member Dustin Swear.
I'd like to start off by saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle,
Here.
Councilmember Natalie Lopez,
Present.
Councilmember Marlon Lewis, Councilmember David Broussard,
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter,
Here.
Councilmember Sherry Guidry,
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
here.
Thank you. Public comment. We have no public comment cards tonight. We will move to agenda item 2. Madam Clerk?
Acceptance of the minutes of the June 19, 2018 meeting as published on June 29, 2018.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Any discussion on our minutes? Hearing none, please vote your machine. Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 3.
Persons to address the council. Sonia Tozan with Iberia Parish Animal Control.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for coming.
What you got for me?
I like that.
I think I'm here just to talk about what we do as animal control for the city of Iberia.
Right. First thing we'd like to do is give out the phone number so that our citizens know what's happening right now. Our council's getting calls, my office is getting calls. We have this 1-year agreement. So we just thought, on a positive note, it would be good to get the information out there. So what number do they call?
Okay, they will call our office, 337-364-6311. They can call from 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. We are available at 7 a.m. to receive any animals that people need to drop off. So 7 to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, we're there accepting animals. And then the office opens at 8.
Great. And what's the location to drop off?
2017 Seaway Access, which could be confusing for some if they don't know the base. We're behind the parish jail in front of the shooting range.
Good. Does my council have any questions?
I have a couple.
Okay.
First of all, I want to tell you thanks for coming here.
Definitely.
Short notice. We appreciate you coming up here.
No problem.
To answer the questions that our constituents do have. I mean, we get phone calls out quite often about animals, and we, as being the representative, we really don't have the answers because we're not animal control, and that's what we count on you for, and we appreciate that. One of the biggest questions I have is what is for an after-hours call? What did you consider eligible
Emergencies.
for an after-hours call?
When an animal bites a human, if an animal is posing a threat to a human or another animal, another pet, someone's pet. You know, if a dog comes in and attacks your dog,
All right.
you don't know who the dog belongs to, then we would go out. Anytime an animal, cat or dog, bites a human, we have to pick it up.
Okay, so that's mandatory across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Another question I had, for example, how many animals have y'all since?
Since April 1st, we have picked up 101.
Okay.
That's just what we've been able to pick up. That's not what people have brought to us from the city.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that was a few questions I had, but I appreciate you coming here. I'm sure the rest might have questions.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Do you have an after-hours number?
That would be, well, now it would be NIPD for you guys.
Okay.
They have our on-call phone number.
I was in dispatch and I heard it work the other night.
We had
The
3
pit
calls
bull
last
that was
night.
chained up at an abandoned house, I think, and I was listening.
We went on 3 last night for you guys, yeah, so.
Good.
It's
So
working.
what happens if after hours and someone calls and, like you said, call NIPD, but then it changes over to you? Do you actually go and pick up the animal, or how does that
Depends on the
work?
situation. If it's one of those situations that I described, yes.
Okay.
We go. They will call our on-call phone, which is held by whatever officer's on duty,
Mhm.
and then he'll go out.
Okay.
Justin, you got, I'll get back to you. Somebody else had, Mr. Broussard, we'll go around the table.
Since you started, I haven't had a call. I mean, we used to get
Then
5,
we
6,
doing our
7
job.
calls a week.
Well, that's,
Then we doing it.
Appreciate everything you're doing in town.
they all win the parish.
I think our
Yeah.
city police, our
No,
city
they-
police too ought to help a little bit by.
They've been great to work with the first couple days.
Hey, we got a good track record.
Yeah.
And there's been a blessing, cats, dogs.
I'm
you name
excited.
it. But we,
Thank-
Lord, so glad to see you.
Thank you.
And come report to us every so often if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
Yes, on the humane side of things, how do you all dispose of the animals? Do you bring them back into homes, or do you eventually, after you get so many, do y'all dispose of them, and how do y'all dispose of them?
So let me understand it. You want to know, how do they exit? What are their possibilities of exiting? They can go to a rescue, they can get adopted, they can get euthanized, and they can get returned to the owner
Okay, so all y'all do is pick them up and house them for,
for a certain period of time. And
Until y'all-
that varies on why, what's the situation, why are we picking them up?
okay,
Because everything has a different time frame that we have to hold them.
okay. And another question, I know currently our public works is picking up dead animals, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Do y'all, and
yes.
will y'all?
That's not
Yeah.
something we ever have done
Okay.
in the past.
We talked about that when we were negotiating, and that's really not,
I'm going to tell you, we
'Cause I
would,
didn't hear it, that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking now.
that would be an all-day affair as well.
Okay.
yeah, that's
You
really
know.
not their function. So.
Yeah.
We hoping to save them, not,
I mean, our basic function
I
is-
asked them if they had
Yeah.
a place to dispose, if they would dispose them, they could dispose the dead ones with the
We
one
do
that-
dispose them. They bring them to
Yeah,
us.
we
The city
bring
brings them to
we
us.
bring them to them.
Okay, oh, y'all bring them,
Yeah.
okay.
The city brings
Yeah,
them
they
to us.
handle, they handle them for us, we bring them to them.
Yeah. I mean, the purpose of our program is for the health and safety
Gotcha.
of the public. So it's kind of what we do.
From the puppy to the grave.
Yeah.
Yes, Dustin.
This, she explained a little bit about the dangerous animal when she said that the call were, if it was a bite call or so forth.
Mhm.
I'm looking up in the in our book of ordinances, do we still have an active dangerous animal?
We do, and
Yes.
it is still active, and they know about it, and
And
we
Ann
have an
Stevens is
ordinance.
very good at her job.
And Ann Stevens does her job, that's through
Mhm.
city court, and when we have a bite on a human, our
Mhm.
dangerous animal ordinance kicks in. We have a panel that convenes to decide if the dog is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be destroyed or not. It has to be held, but there are some rules, and we follow them. And
Yes.
They do a great job helping us
Mhm.
with that.
Miss Ann is on top of her game. And it
That's what the
doesn't,
public
just to
wants.
clarify, it doesn't have to actually bite someone. If someone feels their neighbor's dog is a
If they're
danger,
threatened, right.
they bring it to Ann Stevens. Or Cat, whatever it is.
Any further questions?
That's it?
Good, well, thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
y'all
And like
so
I said,
much.
this was just to get the public aware, since we have made a change, we kind of realized after a couple of months of doing it, we probably didn't publicize kind of the
Mhm.
steps well enough, so this was just to, thank you for coming to clear that up.
You're welcome, anytime.
Awesome, thank you. Now see our parish president in the back, thank you, Larry. Madam Clerk, 3B.
Sharon Russo to address the council on the second annual Trivia Night fundraiser.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Shea Hope is fixing to have their second annual Trivia Night fundraiser. It's going to be held Friday, July 27th, and this year we're held at the Cade Community Center. Our goal now, when SNAP shut down, it left our parish without an emergency shelter. And unfortunately, the need has not decreased in any way, shape, or form. There's still a big need, and we're having to send people out of parish, and which has put a strain because we have less shelters now, so it's been a difficult situation. So our goal now is to start focusing on raising up another shelter that will serve Iberia and St. Martin Parish. So the proceeds from this fundraiser are going to be dedicated to establish a new shelter. We're going to begin a building fund so that we can, start actively going towards that. So we really need everybody's support. It's going to take the community behind us to help us do that. So we'd like to invite y'all to come out. It's the trivia night. Our theme is Louisiana Summer Night. All the questions are going to be geared towards Louisiana/Cajun. So everybody should do pretty good. If you're a native here, they're not going to be really hard. We want it to be fun. It really is going to be a fun night. People encouraging the teams to come. They pick a name, all right, and then they come dressed up according to their theme and decorate their table. We're going to have a contest for the best decorated team. So y'all come, come and see how much you know. It is a competition. The winning team will get $500, so it is, a real event. We're having live auction, silent auction. Brian Campbell is going to facilitate our auction, so we will have signed memorabilia there. And spectators are welcome. Say you can't get a team together, you're short. You can also play. You can play with less than 6 people. The cost of the table is still the same. You can still play, but you can't play with more than 6. So if you can't get a team together, spectators are welcome. We're going to have a little $10 cover charge, but they can participate in everything except you can't help people and tell them the answers. You got to sit in the back and just watch and have fun. So y'all put it on your calendar, and we hope to see y'all there. Y'all have any questions?
No?
Well, thank y'all so much for your time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, 3C.
Pastor Zachary Mitchell to address the council on progress and update on events in the city.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Again, it's an honor to be with you tonight, and another council meeting time, and just want to say how much I really appreciate your work and what you do and help to run our city. It is a blessing for all of us, and just want to appreciate it. We have just finished actually a year and a half of a 2-year plan in phase 1 dealing with what we want to do. So that means we have 6 months to go. And things will change here in the month of July. We have the 2 events coming up, and I do have some flyers, and I'll just leave one with each one of you. On one side is the Lit to Overcome 2 Children and Youth Crusade that comes up this Saturday, and from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we would not only welcome your participation, but just come and see what goes on. We're looking forward to a great time. We are still in the process of signing young people up, and we're gonna stay in that process until Friday, actually. And then on the back of the flyer is the next event we have following, which is the Children and Youth Free Summer Camp, which will take place on July 23rd through the 27th. And want to say to you, I know that some of you made resource commitments to that, and I'll probably be in touch with you concerning the camp items and resources there. But we want to encourage you. I bought with me some posters. Since the crusade is this Saturday, it's kind of late, but I did bring the large posters for the camp. And again, if you need, you should have an ample supply of waiver forms, because we probably gave you on 2 occasions gave you some of those. But we still are looking to sign up young people for the camp. A lot of the young people are excited because we did the crusade last year and they remember it. What we basically did was kept kind of the same flyer, and so they remembered it from that flyer. So we're looking at impacting some young people. Let me just tell you that our theme this year is going to be identity. Our focus is going to be identity, and our theme is I know who I am. And there is a crisis in our young people with identity, and we're going to address it. Now, what we're going to do in the crusade is we're going to address that and with certain activities, etc. And then we're going to turn around in the camp, and for 5 days we are going to drill them concerning that to get it inside of them. You know, when you get something on the inside of you, it's there, nobody can take it away. And so that is the plan. So that once we get done with these two events, from August to December, we're going to go into a follow-up mode, and then also you're going to be blessed to see me only once a month. Isn't that wonderful? But that is going to happen, and we're looking forward to going back into each one of the districts and do follow-up. There are people that are waiting, people that are hurting, people that need help, and we're going to go back through the districts. We have some names. You know, we documented everybody that committed to us. And last two things is we did the boots on the ground in District 6, and it was really a tremendous success. Of course, it was hot, but it was tremendous. And we prayer walked and visited homes down on Terrell Court, Astor Place, Plantation, and all those streets that flow off of the Laurelville Highway. And the jewel of that time was meeting a family that lived on one of these streets. That was the brother and the mother of the young man that was shot and killed on the parking lot of McDonald's. And this was it was a tremendous thing because that family felt like the city was really concerned about them. And because we're not out to try to promote an agenda of ourselves, we're trying to get our city on one accord, flowing together, because we have some great people in this city. And I don't know about you, I'm feeling very strong and confident concerning our city, that we're not only headed in the right direction, we're on the tracks and we're rolling. So, having said all that, to get out of your way, I wanted to leave you with just an illustration of how we need each other. An elderly couple was driving, having their Sunday drive through the country, and they came across this ranch-style place that had some posts on the side of the entrance to the ranch, and they were both quiet, and all of a sudden the wife just kind of screamed and told her husband, "Look, look, look," and he said, "Look, what?" And he looked, and there was, at the entrance to the ranch, was a post that had a flat top on it, and there was a turtle sitting on top of it. So they both looked at each other, and they started to wonder. And I guess I could leave you wondering. But the big issue about the turtle being on top of that post is simply this: he didn't get there by himself. And we're not going to get there by ourselves. We need everybody, all hands on deck, to bring the greatness out in this city. God bless you and God keep you. Have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you certainly can.
Let the camera hit your post.
Hey, listen.
The camera is
You know,
seeing it, everybody else can see it.
I'm gonna have to take some coaching points from you, for being on TV and all that. Those kind of things. I'm not used to it. Okay. Any other questions before I take my seat? I want to thank all of you. You've been so gracious for allowing us to go in your districts and talk to a lot of your people, and we continually want to be a blessing to you. And we're politicking for you. Even though I don't think any of you are up for re-election, we're telling them that, hey, your council person is concerned about you. That's why we're out here, because we're all doing it together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, Madam Clerk. Resolutions.
Approval of certificate of substantial completion submitted by 5J's Construction for completion of the project described as Police Department renovations, and recording of the certificate with the Iberia Parish Clerk of Court.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry. Do I have a second? Well, I got a bunch of them. Councilman Swoop. Great. I see we have Paul Allen here, our project architect, and I'll let you direct your questions if you have any to Paul.
Paul, Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem.
the information that you gave us on our table, are we withstanding, holding back $7,000 until this punch list is done?
We are. Yeah, we have a lien period of 45 days, Dan, and they have the opportunity within that 45-day period to complete this work.
So we,
They have actually completed a lot of it.
okay,
So, but we didn't want to, this is the official documented file punch list that went with substantial completion. And so they have that 45-day lien period to take care of this. Probably 80% of it's already taken care of. And we expect the balance of it to be done within the time period of 45 days.
and at that point, you'll sign off on whether the project is.
Provided they're all
At
complete,
that point.
yes,
That's right.
provided they're all complete.
Okay.
When Paul says punch list is complete and there's no items left and we don't have to hold any money because he has completed all the items, in our 45 days, is up, we'll sign and
Can I ask you
Get him on
another
his way.
question? While you're here? What percentage you think of the project at West End and old fire station, where they at on those two projects?
I would say West End's probably about 90%, and the old fire station, probably about 75.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been, just as a note to the council, they've been focusing on this project because the police department had to open up, and they had to have a 24/7 public access point, which is what they focused on. And I do want to compliment the contractor. I think they did a great job. They were very conscientious. The paperwork was where it needed to be. There's always a learning curve between the architect and the contractor, but I think overall they did a good job. So I just want to compliment them publicly.
Good. Thank you, Paul.
thank you.
Great. Any
Any-
questions? Any other ones?
Further questions? Well, I'll ask you to vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 4B.
Approval of proposed cooperative endeavor agreement by and between Iberia Parish Communications District and the City of Iberia for emergency call services, and authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute any and all agreements or documents in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Broussard. We have discussion on this item. Do you need me to explain anything?
If you want to explain it, Mayor, that would be great.
Good. This is the agreement with 911 that we are entering into for our dispatch for our police department and also our fire department. We are entering into this agreement. This is a 6-month agreement. Originally, we began to negotiate a year's agreement, or a couple of years agreement, at $40,000 a year. We've had some discussions, we opted to do 6 months, which is $20,000, and let us all get used to this and see how it's gonna function. We're kind of learning that getting into agreements is wonderful, but sometimes, there is a learning curve, and sometimes you might decide that it's not quite working or you need to tweak something. So what we're gonna do is 6 months with our dispatchers there. I can tell you I've been there at every shift change for the past couple of days, along with the chief, along with most of the staff. It's working really well. Our dispatchers are well trained, and I bring that up because they were trained by a little school put together by 911. So we are partnering, working well together, but we want to see that our call volume goes down. We want to monitor our response time. We just have a lot of little things in play that we all felt that it was best to do 6 months. So that this is agreement before you. You'll see that we even sent you the redlined agreement, that you can see some of the changes that were made from what we presented to what 911 came back with. And what I'm asking you tonight is to give me the authorization that once Jeff Simon is back next week, he will go through it one more time, and then we'll sign it.
And so basically, Mayor, the $20,000 is for all the equipment that's already existing in the 911.
They
building.
furnish our consoles, they furnish the program, they furnish the computers, they have people on staff that are IT that help with everything, but they furnish all of that. Just the consoles and the chairs are very expensive. The space, as y'all all know, we own the building, but there's no rent because that's part of the agreement. That's why it's $20,000. That's why for a year it's $40,000. It would have been more money, but we have factored in what the building's worth. Further questions? Yes, well, no further questions, vote your machine. He was clearing his throat, I thought he had. Great, thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, item 5.
Public hearing on introduction of an ordinance for budget amendment number 2017-2018-09, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2017-2018, to amend budget for mid-year activity.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to open the public hearing.
Motion by,
Second.
my team's back. Councilwoman Guidry and Councilwoman Ledbetter. Do we have any public comment? Hearing none, motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
You went first this time. Councilman Lewis, Councilwoman Guidry. Thank y'all. Item 5B.
Public hearing on introduction of an ordinance for budget amendment number 2017-2018-10, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2017-2018, to amend budget for LCDBG projects 1 and 2, and for the remaining balance of the DEQ 2016 SRF loan. Corrections are made to this amendment post-introduction. So we need to do a motion to accept the correction.
All right, first of all, I'll need a motion to accept the corrections.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Lopez.
Second.
Councilwoman Ledbetter. Can you vote on that for me, please? Thank you very much. Now I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open.
Motion by Councilwoman Ledbetter and a second by Councilman Broussard. Public comment? Hearing none. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilwoman Ledbetter and a second by Councilman Lewis. That's it. Please vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, item 6.
Adoption of ordinance for budget amendment number 2017-2018-09, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2017-2018, to amend budget for mid-year activity.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 6B.
Adoption of ordinance for budget amendment number 2017-2018-10, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2017-2018, to amend budget for LCDBG projects 1 and 2, and for the remaining balance of the DEQ 2016 SRF loan.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Dahl.
Second.
Do I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote your machine. Thank you. All right, item C is an emergency, expand the agenda. In the lieu that our attorney is not here, I'll just remind you that to expand the agenda, we have to have a unanimous vote. If you know the vote is not unanimous, we're not expanding the agenda. Madam Clerk?
Motion and vote to add emergency special ordinance to the agenda.
Second.
Motion by the Mayor Pro Tem Dahl and a second by Councilman Lewis. Any discussion? I guess we have to do the motion to expand first. Who's vote to expand the agenda? We can't discuss it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, we made it to discussion.
An emergency special ordinance pursuant to Home Rule Charter Section 2-13, entitled Emergency Ordinances, to appropriate the sum of $65,310 to repair pumps number 1, 2, and 3 at the Armico Pump Station in the West End area, and to amend the budget for the year 2017-2018 pertaining to the expense of the government of the city of New Iberia for the year 2017-2018, to appropriate funds as shown at Exhibit A, Amendment 11, attached here 2.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Motion by Councilman Broussard, second. Councilman Lewis. So we're gonna vote on machine, then we're gonna discuss it.
Discuss.
Before we discuss?
Yep.
Okay, well then this is a motion for public comment. Do we have any, please vote your machines. Right?
Nope, just public comment.
Oh, public comment off the vote, I'm sorry. Okay, do we have any public comment on this item? Hearing none. Motion to close the public comment.
Motion to close the public comment.
Thank you. Councilwoman Guidry, second? Councilwoman,
Mr. Broussard.
Oh, Mr. Broussard, thank you very much.
Okay, now we can discuss.
All right, now we can finally get to our discussion. Any discussion on this item? Yes, sir, Mr. Broussard.
The city, parish, state, all shared in costs of completing the Ormico Canal.
Sure.
Finally, the city put up $750,000. That was dedicated for the railroad tracks to get over the railroad tracks to the hospital.
Yep.
Okay, that put us over the top. We finished it up. Now, the city, the citizens of the city of New Iberia are paying into a full mill drainage tax with the parish. Mayor Freddie D. Court, can we get together with the parish officials to have a joint venture to pay for maintenance of these pumps? You know, can we have help since we're all in it, even the state?
We have
We can ask.
discussed that, and when we first were in office, the parish actually offered to help us with that. We elected to run it for a year, because Warren Goshasan had brought that up, the parish president and I have discussed it. We decided that the right thing to do was Leroy would monitor it, we, as would Kevin, or, you know, our finance, and we would look at it and see what it actually cost for a year. It wasn't really fair to say, yeah, buy in, pay, when we didn't know how much it cost. So that's not, that's another issue from this one, but I think that dialogue is already there. The parish president and I have talked about it very recently, so our attitude is, you know, we've run it for a year, that is something we can look at.
But at the end of the year, we can look at it real hard to see.
We will look at it, because we're gonna know we were a year and a half into my term, and we're not too much longer than that, maybe 2 years into running it, year and a half, 2 years. How long, Mr. Leroy? April?
Accepted in April.
In April. Okay,
Just say-
okay, so we'll run it for a year, and then we'll be able to talk about it.
These are minor costs right now, but they can get major later. So
These are
if they
pretty
can-
major, but
I
yeah,
know, yeah.
I agree.
But we just want to make sure they,
No, and I think
They welcome
everybody,
to it.
it's a true partnership.
I'm glad
Everybody's
you're here,
in-
Larry. Appreciate you being here.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor, I was here when we started the project, and
Yeah, we will too.
and what Mr. Broussard said about, I mean, prior to that, we were getting money for years, and what the parish did. But what I have a problem with is that, and I want to vote for this, no problem, but this thing was put in 2 years ago. They had trouble with the pumps right when they put them in, and and the operation of those pumps, not every time, is just on an overflow of Amico Canal. I would love to know how many few hours they have on those pumps. That, I mean, we can accept this repair because we need it to protect the citizens in that area, but I think we need to look into the engineer or to the contractor and see what kind of warranties we have. I mean, if you have a warranty for a year and the pumps will run 2 months, I mean, really? I mean, being in my business, I just think you should stand behind what you sell, but this is a pump that is not used every day. And I just can't believe, I know right on startup, Mayor, the pumps didn't even work on the first time that we needed it because they burnt the banners or burnt something. And I think, I just think we need to go and send with our lawyer and send some kind of letter about maybe some reimbursement from the contractor or the engineer. Why have a warranty when, I mean, we had trouble from, I mean, it seemed like from the beginning, no?
We have discussed that. I can bring Mr. Leroy up, who knows in great detail every aspect of this. But to tell you the truth, Mr. Leroy and myself, our attorney, and the engineer have already had meetings about this. It is something that we are talking about. It was repaired under the warranty the first time that the barons were burned. So it was repaired. Then it ran. There is some discussion of, did it run for a year? Because if it ran for a year, that was the warranty time, even though it was extended from when it was built. So we're back and forth with the engineer and our attorneys. But what we can't do is leave the West End hanging. I mean, that's not an option. So we feel that this is an emergency. We have a temporary pump there now. And let me tell you, if you knew the hours that Mr. Leroy monitors, they say it's all automatic. It's automatic because we have Mr. Leroy.
Yeah.
If you would see the amount of time, because one of the things, the way the system's designed, it actually has to be turned off at times because when it's not made to run continuously. When we have a wind or a tide event that the canal gets full, we actually start hurting the west end and the water starts recirculating. So there is actually a lot of human monitoring that says it's full, we got to turn it off. It's not that the pumps can't handle it, it's that the outflow can't handle it. There's no place for it to go. So that is something that is a huge issue that we burn up a lot of man hours on. And I just want to thank Mr. Leroy for that because I know how many times I've been in there, but I also know how many times I didn't meet him there and he went. But we are talking to our lawyer, talking to our engineer. For tonight is to fix it, but you know that's the business I've been in as well. That you do a project, you warrant it for a year. There are some discussions. We'll just have to see how that plays out.
I appreciate it because, like you said, I have no problem supporting this. But, I mean, I was the first thing happened is we accept the project and there's no generator to run the pump when they got bad weather.
Which we're under a contract now to put the generator in. Mr. Leroy, you want to come up?
I wanted to get the wrong impression about the generators.
No, it's a whole
Yeah, because it doesn't run everything.
The generator's not gonna run the electric pump.
Yeah, which is
It's gonna keep the controls running and the lights running. So, when the power comes back on, it'll be completely still programmed to run. But we can run the diesel pumps to keep the water down.
Is there electric and diesel pump?
There's electric, there's one electric and 124 electric and 260 diesel.
But it doesn't run the electric, because I thought it was going to run the electric.
Yeah.
No,
Until I saw
no,
the size
it's
of
just-
the generator, and I said, well, it's not
It's,
running.
what is it, 20 or 25 kW?
I think 25 kW, but all that's there for is panels.
Yeah.
Panels and lights.
And now you said we got a temporary pump there working now.
Yes.
And that's a pump that we're renting?
No,
Nope.
they have offered us this pump at no
Okay.
cost.
Okay,
And we should,
It's a 24 inch
okay, good, thank you.
and we run it.
Yeah.
You're looking at the guy that runs it.
that's what I'm getting at.
Thank you so
So,
much.
no, I have confidence in what they want to do to the pumps. I feel it's a lot of money, but I feel the West End area deserves it.
Oh, yeah,
And
project deserves it.
I don't think even in 2000s, there was very few houses in 2016 rain. Most of the apartments got water in it.
Yep.
Not too many houses.
Yeah.
So if we weren't gonna have that, all these houses would have been underwater.
No, it was a good
So,
project, a joint project.
You know,
Well, no, I have no problem. I just want to make sure if someone's liable, 'cause it seems like every time we turn around, we have an engineer design something that fell apart, as we did with the retention pond, and then then it's this, then we did with the overlay project. It's like, well, I have engineers, they don't stand behind what they do. Well, I'm
Well-
sorry, I just look at it that way, you know?
well, I have a lot more confidence in what we're gonna be doing with this pump, these 3 pumps. Your top bearings are gonna be grease instead of oil. And, bottom is gonna be cooled off with water. So right now, the top is oil.
Yeah.
And it's a 32 instead of 68 hydraulic. It's about half the thickness of hydraulic oil.
Yeah,
So that gets real hot.
yeah, overheat it.
So
Can't protect the
I
bottom.
have,
Well, good, I have no problem, but I just like, man, you invest all that money, you would think.
I understand.
Well,
Well,
I understand,
We're
but-
frustrated and we're
Yeah.
looking into it as well.
Thank you for everything, Mr. Lee.
yeah, anytime.
You might as well
Yeah.
stay up there, Mr. Lee, because I'm going around.
All right.
Councilwoman up there?
Hey, Mr. Leroy.
Yes, ma'am.
Trying, just got added at the last second, so I didn't, have time to go home and look through my stuff. But I'm trying to remember. I remember when we talked about all this, when we were gonna handle the O&M. I remember asking you outside of O&M, basically not outside of O&M, but outside of regular O&M, like what you thought it would be a year. And am I crazy to still be? I'm remembering 15,000. Am I off a
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Is that about the number we were at?
Your diesel and your electricity will run you
I
down.
remember asking you
Yeah.
how much, because the deal was is the city was gonna pay for operation and maintenance. That's the original agreement
Yeah.
from when Mr. Rack was here, correct?
Yeah. And just to service the two engines, the two diesel engines, which are 250 horse plus, are $8,000 just to service them once a year.
Okay, so we're
So-
probably more around 20.
You,
Be honest with me, where we at?
you,
On just a regular year, no problem.
I've just turned in my 2018-19 budget, and we'll all look at it, what I'm proposing.
But what are you ballparking on the average it's gonna take without problems to run it a year? 20 grand?
It'd be more than that.
30 grand?
Be more than that.
40 grand?
Be more than that.
50 grand?
I'd rather not commit till we look at the budget.
Well, I know we over 40, and so we've had it for 3 years.
Yeah.
So 4 times 3 is 120.
Right.
So we've spent about 120 so far, would be a rough
A rough estimate.
estimate. That's
Yes.
inclusive of this 64,000 today?
And if you'd pay my time,
That's not inclusive of the 64,000.
if you would have to pay my time, it'd be a lot more.
But what I'm getting at, that this 40, this rough 40 a year, is that inclusive of the 64,000 we're talking about today? Or that's the 64,000 lanyard?
In my 2018-2019 budget, I put $50,000 for equipment repair. Alone. Without electricity, without the fuel, without if I have to repair lights out there, I gotta hire. If I gotta repair plumbing, I gotta hire.
Okay, but
it's
just
gonna
to
be-
be, but I'm
Well,
asking.
we get ready to give you all of that.
Yeah.
You know, we're working on the budget now.
Yeah.
We're
No,
not
I
gonna-
know, but
We're
I.
not gonna act on it until budget time, and
Yeah.
we're gonna bring you a complete breakdown of.
Right.
where we are.
Okay, I'm just asking.
And-
And look, I get it. It was a joint venture, but I also get agreement, and I do remember what this original agreement was.
Now, I can
Oh,
bring
oh,
you,
The original agreement didn't include the parish.
It was not
No,
that
I
we
mean,
were going to pay for operation and
I know that.
maintenance.
I will
And we talked about
get you
all
a
of this.
copy. I will get you a
Okay.
copy of the budget that the engineer came up that it would cost to maintain those pumps on an annual basis.
And that's what we got. Free.
That's what we budgeted. That's not what the engineer said we should have budgeted.
How far
Big-
off are we from them
Probably $100,000
per year?
per year.
That's okay. Well, like I said,
I
I hope
will,
the parish will help us, but I will not be upset with them because I remember what the original deal was.
Yeah, I do too.
You know,
I
and
think,
this wasn't this mayor, so
I think that once this is done, I feel comfortable that this is gonna work. Because I'm gonna see to it myself that it's greased.
but we still need $100,000 a year, and we can't fish that out of your budget without killing your department. Correct?
That's correct.
All right.
I mean,
I'm just trying to put the plate on the table.
you know. So,
Okay.
any other questions?
Yeah, people have their hands up, and we go around the
Okay.
table. Who's next?
Justin was first. I just had a quick question, Mr. Leroy, but first I want to make a comment. I've went, many times when it floods and, in that western area, and I've seen you actually in the rain on the site checking those pumps.
Yes, ma'am.
So, so really, it's not really the machines monitoring those pumps by themselves. Mr. Leroy is mostly always there.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
a-
just drove up out the blue in the rain
Yeah.
and you were there. Now the repair, now these are parts that we're actually putting on these pumps, or this is,
These pumps have to come out,
right,
go to this shop and be repaired and come back and put in. We
okay,
have a big cost just for the crane.
Crane's $8 grand a ton, and we gotta do it
Yeah.
twice.
okay.
Yeah.
So the parts that's, being put on it, is that under warranty? So we're not having to, put out more money for that?
I didn't ask
particular
that
repair?
question, but I can ask. We're only looking at, well, 36.5 for the parts.
36.5 for the parts?
Mhm.
Okay, and you don't know if it's warranted, but you can find out for us,
I
Mr.
can find
Leroy?
out.
Okay,
But, I mean, as long as it's lubed and we have water to cool those bearings at the bottom, I feel comfortable that this will work.
you mentioned earlier we have a temporary pump, or whatever. Is there, how long is that gonna last? Do we need a
As long as our 3 pumps are not fixed, that pump will be stationed there at no cost to the city of New Iberia or the taxpayers.
Yeah, I mean, we understand it's hurricane season,
Yeah.
we're trying to get this done, that's why
Yes.
it's an emergency, and we're taking every
If
precaution.
this is adopted tonight, this man's gonna have appeal on Thursday for a second pump to be fixed.
Okay, and the generator, when is that gonna be installed, Mr. Leroy?
I was with the engineer this past week. He's having trouble getting the generator, which is hard for me to believe.
Me too.
Okay? I can go online and get a generator within 3 or 4 days. So,
Yeah, it's not a big generator.
no.
So we're waiting.
Thank you, Mr. Leroy.
Councilman Swift.
Question I have on the warranty issue. So when it was repaired in the last warranty, were we given an additional warranty on top of that repair?
No.
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 Okay, so,
It ended April the 20th, 21st,
and that was both
which your year
parts
Yes.
and
labor.
And it ran for the year.
Yeah.
And that's the
Right.
problem.
Being in the repair
of-
business, I understand how this works and these numbers.
But it was but it had an issue prior to that, and it's the same issue. So if you've had an issue from, my point of view is if you had an issue from startup, and it's the same issue, it's a bearing.
Yeah.
Even though it ran for a year, I'm claiming that it wasn't right from the beginning,
Yeah.
and that it's had a continuous issue. We just got lucky and got some time out of it, but it's the same issue we had the first time. So if we had a continuous issue, I don't know that I would say that they fixed it. That's my point of view. We'll have to see what, legally where we head.
Okay, 'cause I agree with Mr. Dahl. I mean, I'm a vote on it myself. It's something that needs to be done. It's
Yeah,
for
I
the
mean,
safety of,
We can't let the residents of West End,
um, but, I can also see the other concerns from other.
I agree with y'all.
Dollars, you know.
I agree 100%.
Okay,
But-
well, I appreciate it.
And so, Mr. Leroy, the warranty on the parts, when is that? You said you're gonna find that out when?
I will call him on Thursday morning,
Thursday morning, okay. Thank you, sir.
and I'll let the mayor know.
Okay, we have 2 more people with their hands up. Mr. Broussard, have you spoken yet on it? You did, huh? Okay, I'm gonna go to Councilwoman Lopez and come back to you.
Okay, these continuous issues we're talking about, is that inclusive of these parts you're talking about that you have to order? Are these parts part of this continuous issue?
It's the bearings, yes.
Bearings.
Yes, the oilers. if
We
the
just
oilers-
said he's
If the
budgeting
oilers
these
for
parts.
the bearings fail, the bearings fail.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened. So our bone of contention is, we're going way out of our way to change that whole system and get away from oil that drips to grease.
Grease.
And the reason we're doing that is because the system hadn't worked from the beginning. So
And you
to me, it's all connected.
And you saying this, you budgeted 50 grand for these parts?
Yeah, to set it up, to change the bearings that are on those pumps now to water-cooled bearings and grease bearings. And also, we have a gearbox on one of those pumps that needs to be repaired for
And who's
$6,500.
the engineer again?
It was Domingue and Zabo.
It costs how much to file suit? $400?
Hmm?
$400 worth 50,000? I mean, I think we might ought to have a discussion at the table. But that's just me.
And,
We're already having those discussions.
Okay, I'm just saying.
There's
I-
nobody.
The issue at hand is to fix the problem.
Right.
And the other issue is already being discussed.
There's nobody in this room that wants it fixed more than I do.
Okay, and my last question, outside of this,
There are several
outside of
people in
this,
that area. Yeah.
this
If you live there, you
bearing
know.
problem with this $50,000 we're talking about, outside of that, are we still very far off from what we originally estimated O&M to cost per year?
Not from the engineer's cost, no.
How far off are we from what we thought, from what they
I
thought
don't have it in front
outside
of me. I wish I'd have brought it.
20
I
grand,
have it.
50 grand?
I have it in my 2017, 2018 budget. Kevin,
I
you
mean,
don't
this
have
was
it
a
right
big
now.
deal.
It is, but we about
But
to
it
get
was a
rid
big deal.
of
It was a
We're
big deal
about
when we
to get
voted
rid
to
of
do it, because it was like, who's gonna take care of it? And now,
The engineer's proposal of the budget that it would cost to maintain those pumps. I gave you-
But all that is coming down. We are working on that, and we realize,
I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'll get it to you.
I wanna know, outside of this issue, which is, to me, is a separate animal,
It is.
how far are we off from what we estimated O&M to be? Because that,
I think we're still cheaper. with this 60, whatever, tonight.
65.
When you total it all up, we are cheaper than what the engineer said O&M
Yeah,
was gonna be.
yeah.
But like I said, all those figures are coming. We know we gotta lay this.
So you're saying our estimate was conservative and still is
Oh, Lord,
outside
yes,
of these parts?
yes. Because,
Well, because I should have said 15,000. You said $8,000 to each machine. Well, that's 16,000 right there. That's over what we said. I mean, unless I'm not adding right.
no, you're adding right.
Okay.
I just expected,
I'll call you.
and I think the mayor expected too, and we all expected that they all would work, and it's not working.
Yeah.
So, you're gonna be stuck, right now you got one pump running,
Oh, I'm gonna vote for it.
you know, so.
That's not the issue
no,
for
it's-
me.
it's
The
all-
issue for me
it's all
is
separate
when we
issues.
did all this, and that we don't have $100,000 a year to be playing around
Well,
at all.
We all agree.
So I just
Yeah.
and don't make his job. I mean, I'm not crazy, but we do more than this with them. But I'll leave it at that.
anybody else?
You done now?
Since Armico Canal goes through the parish almost more than the city, Larry, our parish president, is blessed to be here tonight. I was wondering if he has a few words.
He might not think it's a blessing.
If we would,
He was blessed till you called on him.
if we have a chance to even invite him to speak a few words, if you know about what the rest of Armico Canal is doing at present, or about what we're talking about,
It's just 12 miles long, so.
but if you have a few words, we appreciate.
I've been speaking to the mayor first.
Yeah, give us some information you might be
Come on
able to
up,
give
Larry,
us.
since Mr. Broussard has,
Since I'm so blessed.
since he blessed you to come up here.
Since I'm so blessed, I'll come up here. But I prefer to talk to the mayor once y'all have the communications that y'all having right now, and you have all of the information in front of him. It's always best to sit down when you have information in front of you and discuss what's going on in lieu of just listening to people talk and not having everything in front of me. So as far as me to stand up here and say anything, I can't do that. That's not the way I operate. Once Freddie get all of his information, he's going to come, or I'm going to come here, and we're going to talk like we normally do, and we're going to figure out what's right for Iberia Parish, which includes the city of New Iberia.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what you just saw, Larry and I talk quite often, and I'm gonna tell you, Larry's on his game and he keeps me in check. Because there are times that I'm ready to go, and Larry's like, okay, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's get our stuff together, before we bring it forward. That's why we do well together. Somebody have a hand up? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Just to clear something, Mr. Leroy.
Blessed to come on back up.
No, since you care about it more than he do, the pumps were designed by the engineer.
Correct.
Not by you, not by this council or the mayor. This is correct.
Engineer,
And we pay the engineer to get the best product that we
at the
can
best
afford,
price.
right?
Yes.
So, what you doing is the best way to do it, I know that.
Yeah.
In my business, but I wanna make sure that people know that we did not design this.
Nope.
And the engineer designed it, and I would like to see them on the oath to say they think only 2 years, these pumps, or 3 years they'll work.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanna make sure. And it's not about you, cause you do more than, Public Works deserve to do. And it's not about the money, it's
Thank
about
you.
the responsibility of the engineers, where I think they come to these cities and they do these projects, get their fee and leave. I really have a problem with that. I really do, and it happens, it seems like it happens more than ever to us. And, so that's all I wanna make sure that you know, it's nothing that you do or your department, cause you're there, but the engineer designed something that I think, well, we can fight.
Yeah.
And hold our ground and say, it should last more than this many hours.
I agree.
Okay?
We all agree, and like I said, we're already taking those steps. Thank you. Councilman.
Addressing Mr. Leroy, you're the second person in the room that cared more about that pump than anybody else. I get the calls, you know that.
Yeah.
Me and him talk a lot when it rains. We
Yeah.
talk a lot when it rains. But I thank you for what you're doing.
I appreciate
I know
it.
you're on top of it.
I appreciate
sounds
it.
like you're on top of it.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like you're on top of it.
I was with him on the phone last night at 7, 8 o'clock,
And-
whatever.
And really, everything that everybody said tonight was good concerning Armico Canal, because it does affect the whole city. But it
Yeah,
was
and
to relieve, flooding in the West End, and I watched my Aunt Peggy fight for it so long. You know, it's her baby. You know, and she got a picture of it on her wall. And it's true. She gave me the picture, she gave me the picture, and I got the picture on my wall now. So, you know, it's just, I appreciate what you're doing. I understand Natalie's concerns, but you're on top of it, which it sounds like to me, and I'm grateful for that, for District 2 being on top of it.
I'll be there first thing in the morning to bring it down, you know, because the large pump only brings it down to a certain elevation, so I got to use this temporary pump to bring it the rest of the way. So, but I'll be doing that first thing in the morning. So.
That was the first place you took, when I became there, you took me over there, gave me a tour of it.
Yeah.
So I know you're concerned, and I appreciate it.
Anytime.
And I see it every day. We talk every day, you know. Any further? Yes.
Well, I just want to be clear that I'm not jumping on Leroy. I love Leroy, and he knows that. But he also knows that I will stalk him to get whatever I need to get. So it's nothing personal, and I do believe he is on top of it. But we both have a role to play, and he knows that.
Well, I do not like to spend taxpayers' money if I don't have to. And but this is a situation, ladies and gentlemen, and Mayor, we don't have really no choice. We tried it.
We can both part right now.
All right, thank you.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Ledbetter had sat here patiently
Oh,
and
shy.
never said a remark.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask you, after we repair these pumps and put the grease, is it going to make it easier for you to maintain?
Easier to maintain, not easier to operate. I'm going to have to still monitor the channel, and when the channel gets to a certain height, I have a mark that I can pump to, and I got to shut down the pumps till the Armico Canal goes down. Other than that, all I'm doing is circulating the water, and it's coming back in the pond, and all I'm doing is pumping it and keep pumping it. So,
But you'll be able to sleep at night not worrying if the oil is working. Yeah.
that's right.
That's what I want.
If they start, I got till the morning to go see about it.
Right.
Okay.
And I won't have to wait. If I need to start them manually, I won't have to wait 15 minutes to start them. Now I got to put it all on. I got to put it all on and let it drip for 15 minutes before I can start it. Now, being grease, when I go to start it manually, I can start it. So,
Well, thank
yes,
you,
it will
Mr.
be easier.
Leroy, for all that you do. 'Cause I know you work very, very hard.
I enjoy my job. So, you know. Anybody else?
All right.
Mayor?
Oh, no, we've talked this. I think everybody understands the function of the Armico Canal and the pumps and the oil and the grease. So if there are no further questions, thank you, Mr. Leroy.
All right,
I'll
thank
ask you to please vote your machine.
We have to have a motion.
I'll make the motion to,
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we made the motion.
That was for the public comment.
That was for public comment. Okay, well, I need a motion.
I'll make it.
Second.
Man made it already.
I thought we made it.
No, a while ago when you said you needed a motion, Ms. Ledbetter said motion and Mr. Doyle said second. While you were talking to your clerk.
All right, well, then we are done. And,
We need to vote.
I got a new
That doesn't
assistant.
happen,
I got a
though.
new assistant. Then go ahead and vote your machine.
Thank you all.
Thank y'all. All right. Madam Clerk, item 7.
Presentation by Kevin Zarang, City Treasurer, of the May 30th, 2018 budget to actual comparisons.
All right, Kevin, come on up.
Dave, y'all even before I get up
Oh,
there.
no. I'm sorry for that.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The format of the presentation is the same as previous. And what I'd like to do is just kind of go over the lines, the total lines. If you have any questions, you're welcome to interrupt me and ask. So we'll start off with the general fund. General fund was budgeted to be 18.7 million. Take a step back. We're 7 months into the budget as of the end of May. So at that point, we should be 58.3%. So general fund, 18.7 million revenue. Actual has been 10.6, we're at 56.94. So we're off a little, but I think that's pretty good. Expenses, 19.6, and we're at 11 million in expenses, which is at 55.5%. So I look at it as they're both lower, which is good. Parks and Recreation was budgeted revenues of 1.2. They're at 1.1 million, which is 86.83. The reason for that is, as in prior months, the way the revenue is recorded for the ad valorem tax is recorded all at once instead of 1/12 each month. So it's showing higher because we were budgeting 1/12 each month. The expenses, 1.3 million, where it's 600,000, which is 51%. So we're actually below. Public Works Fund, revenue of 2.8, we're at 1.7. So on revenue, we're at 6.241. The explanation on their revenue is the same as the parks. Theirs is ad valorem tax. Their expenses are 2.8. We're at 1.3, so expense-wise, they're actually below where they should be, which is good. They're at 48%. Sales tax fund, 10 million. We're at 6 million, or 5.8. They're at 57.24, so they're pretty close to where we should be. And on that, I will point out that y'all received the sales tax updates through the end of June. And if you notice, we are closing that gap. Garbage expense, sales tax expenses is 10 million. We're at 5.52. We're at 55%. Garbage fund, we're at 58.36% of where we should be in revenue, which is where it should be at 7 months. And we are at 58.2 on the expenses, which is where we should be. Section 8 vouchers, I'm giving them to y'all in just totals right now. 58% on revenue and 60% on expenses. Wastewater is at 55.2% on revenue and 60.98 on expenses. Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
I just have a quick comment to make.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much all our department heads. I mean, this shows, it's looking at things on the expenditure side, showing that we're below, especially on our expenses, showing that, it's responsibility on y'all part, and it's really showing that we're taking that responsibility to keep those expenses down, and I appreciate it. I know we just sat here and talked about the whole pump issue and stuff, spending more money, but it had to be done. But I appreciate everything y'all doing to make those expenses as low as possible as y'all can get them. So it's showing, 7 months in, I'm appreciative of the work y'all putting out to get it to that point. So thank y'all.
And I can tell you, working with these people every day, we meet, we talk. At 6 months, we made some cuts. Departments gave up part-time help. They're, asking, and thank God for our employees. Our employees are stepping up and doing more with less, because we know we got to do our best to keep this in the budget. We know we've got some, as every other agency does right now, state and parish. We all got some issues. Money's tight, but I watch these people every day and every decision. Kevin and I debate, go back and forth, meet with department heads, plan, strategize on every. You would be amazed. I mean, we have talks about $100 issues, $500 issues. We are all on top of it and all realize, we have a responsibility to taxpayers, and we also know how tough it is. So, anyway, we feel it every day, but they do a great job.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Doing that sales tax collection, doing the comparison, we had 0.77% down. That's the best it's been in at least 4 years.
I know.
We might have a positive next month if July comes in like it should. That's almost a record.
Well, we got.
So I wanna thank not only the departments, but the people in New Iberia shopping here.
Yep.
Buying stuff here.
You're right.
I mean, every dollar is a big deal, and I want to thank them, because I always emphasize them, shop local, try
you're right.
place here, because it makes a difference, because the more we can collect, the more service we can give to them. So I want to thank them because I know it shows something's happening. Plus, it looked better than we did in the last few years. So I want to thank them for all what they do.
Could not agree more. You know, we've had 20-something new businesses open in the last year. We have more coming. We're trying to give incentives. We're contacting businesses and developers. But we also, we know that the burden is carried by our existing businesses. Those businesses that are 20, 30, 40 years old and, still schlepping it, that's who we can thank for this in conjunction with the new businesses. But you're exactly right. That's what it takes.
46 years.
Yeah. I think we're the same. We're the 46 and 47.
Yeah.
Any further comment? Great. Thank you very much, Kevin. Good job. We have no items for discussion tonight, so we'll move right along to Councilman's remarks, and I'll start on Dustin's side.
I think I'll just pass the torch on down tonight.
Wow. All right.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Tarsus. Yeah.
George? Okay. I just want to let Miss Heather know that I did not renege on my promise from the swimming, and it's going to be this month, just so y'all know. And so all ladies, this is my call and plea to you. If you do not know how to swim, then you need to call the city park and get with Miss Heather to schedule something to learn how to swim, and I will be there. So come to get your laugh on, because it's going to be funny. But, no, we're not charging at the door. But there is a fee involved, so just call the city park. Okay. July 12th is our neighborhood watch meeting for District 5, but we're calling it a citywide neighborhood watch. It's going to be held at Clementine's on Main Street, and it's a city gathering, and I'm inviting the public to come out and meet our new chief of police, and also to his top administration and some police officers, and also to hopefully our mayor, right, Mayor?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Is going to be there to come and talk for a little bit for us. And also, too, this is an opportunity for the public to get more acquainted with our police officers if you have not gotten acquainted as such, and also find out who's going to be patrolling your neighborhood. And also, too, we want to send out a request for the business owners. If you can make it, come out, and you're also welcome as well. Come find out, hopefully, what are the business shift checks. I think I got that right, Chief? Business shift checks. It's going to go on a rotational schedule. And just any questions or concerns that you may have as a citizen here, bring them. Feel free to come out and meet us, and I'll be there, and this will be another chance for New Iberia to come together as one soul, one heart, and one mind, and be on one accord as we move this city forward. Thank you.
Ms. Sherry, what time?
Oh, I'm so sorry. The time is 6 p.m. July 12th, 6 p.m. at Clementine's. And from what I'm understanding, I want to thank our partners of Clementine's, because I think they're going to be feeding us as well. So come on out.
Thank you.
I want to say congratulations to our new police department. I have seen them riding in the neighborhoods, and it looks really great to see them riding around and doing their job. So I just want to give kudos to the new police department, and of course, led by our chief, Dalber. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Mayor, it looks like this time of year when we start getting those heavy rains, and when streets get flooded for an hour, it's going to go down. People don't panic. But I want to applaud the efforts. I saw them cleaning those drainages today. But if people in front of their houses, they have a drainage and they see it's clogged up, call City Hall, and or move it out the way yourself. But it really makes a difference, because you really can't go all over the city at the same time. And in different areas, the drainage gets stopped up more. So you see a stopped up drain, even going down the street, come there, they can call City Hall, tell them where it's at, they can clean it. But I want to thank you. I saw them out there today cleaning those drainages, because right now they got high wind, leaves are falling, everything's happening, and believe it or not, if you don't clean the drainage, it's not going to drain. I don't care what. And just call City Hall, and they'd be glad to get out there and clean those drainages so water won't be over the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Broussard.
Chief Dalbo, I want to thank you for, saw two policemen knocking on an elderly woman's house. I think they were just checking up on her. I think you have name and numbers of elderly people. I appreciate you and your department when you have time. I see it in action. Thank you a lot, sir. I see it going on. And help us with the ordinances that we have open for the cars and the old cars and everything. We have it wide open. We might need a little help from you helping on some of them ordinances. Leroy, we never forgot about you. Jimmy, thank you for putting up with us. Leroy, when I call you for something, when a bad rain, I need help on my streets, you at the pump station. Maybe that's the best place to be. Every time I call you at the pump station, you say you've been there for 6 or 8 hours when I call you. But hey, we know you're working. We appreciate everything y'all do. You hold your department heads. We appreciate everything y'all do. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna piggyback on our Mayor Pro Tem Dan Dahl about being careful when it rains, and you know, a lot of people may not know, but there was a law, a state law passed that is dealing with driving through flood waters.
Yep.
You know,
We have an ordinance. We have an ordinance.
and the state has passed the law, so they're gonna really be doubling down on that passing through flood waters in your vehicle during floods. So that's one thing. Also, I want to thank y'all here, the Parks and Recreation. Also, this NFL player that grew up in St. Louis Projects. Success story. He came back this weekend and he gave a free camp to the kids of our community, football camp, and it was awesome, man. The city provided some help, some resources, Parks and Rec, and it was a very nice event with all that's happening in our community. It's good to see people from the area that had been distressed with crime come back and do something like they did last Saturday. Man, it was a success. I'm proud of my community, all the volunteers. I couldn't begin to name them, but it was sponsored by Damon Harrison and his foundation. I told the Storm he's going to be looking forward to working in New Iberia extensively. But again, I wanted to thank y'all, Heather, for what y'all did. When I called the mayor and I called Heather to come and set up tents and do things for community events, y'all there. And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. Also, we halfway through the summer, man, y'all, and we had a couple of crimes, a couple of murders in our community, and I definitely want to pray for those bereaved families, Lord. But at the end of the day, man, I'm grateful that we do have a police department, and I think they're going to stir some things up. And y'all look good out there, Chief. Y'all look good, man. Again, y'all got my support in trying to help change my community, the West End. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Councilman Lopez?
I just have that District 1, the Katie Makers Neighborhood Watch Group. The meeting's going to be this Monday, the 9th at 6 at Dassville Elementary. And tonight is the first night ever that my son is here to watch our meeting. So we have a child in the audience, and it's my 9-year-old. And I'm very proud of him for wanting to come and see what we do. And that's it.
Great, thank you. I just want to tell you, if you have an emergency, of course you call 911, but the non-emergency number for our police department is 369-2306. That's the non-emergency number. The business office number, 369-2307. So we're just kind of doing everything we can to get those numbers out there. I couldn't be prouder. We launched the police department Sunday morning at 6 in the morning, and between that and the new dispatches, it's rolling along. We've already gotten guns off the street. We've already gotten drugs off the street. It is beginning to make that impact that we all desperately know that we need. And I want to thank the community. I saw so many signs in people's yards, welcome back NIPD, or, glad you're here. so many thumbs up. I mean, the officers are saying that the community support of the people that have flagged them down, pulled on the side of them as they're patrolling, has just been really overwhelming. Many of the officers that have come from other communities say, you know, we've never seen this before. So I just want to let you know that it's working, and, you know, the concept of community policing is a solid one, and we started off with that foot of, you know, going in that direction. We will continue community policing, and, you know, it's going to have a positive impact. It's going to take time. Everything that, you know, that the Reverend Mitchell's doing, everything that all of the groups are pulling together, all the churches, all of that comes into play, but it is really, you know, a real joy to sit up here and watch, you know, what the citizens said they wanted, that every one of you, you know, every one of you was a part in building. It is just really a real pleasure to be able to start to see that in action. So, can't thank you enough.
And Mayor, in the next couple of weeks, they'll be pulling them over.
And our next meeting is July 17th, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion and second. Thank y'all.